What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more John Foxx. And we're continuing through the last few tracks in a bonus folder associated with his Metamatic album. Thank you again to Adrian. And I'll admit, anytime I now think of the album Metamatic, I do think of Gareth Jones working on the album with John Foxx. Because, and as many people will know, and as I think I've talked about before, he would go on to work with Depeche Mode on some of my favorite albums by them. So yes, that does come to mind now. In any case, we're up to the penultimate tune in the folder, which is My Face. An interesting title. I will say there's a bit of metadata that says promo disc, so I'm guessing this wasn't actually a B-side to a single, but was only released as part of some promotional material or maybe cassette tape. Either way, My Face, it references a body part and is given a pronoun to indicate that it's the speaker's face. Now, of course, your face could just be what is superficial, what is on the surface or publicly visible, and could, of course, be a metaphor or figurative. It might not actually be your visage in a more physical sense, but yes, it's an interesting starting point. I don't quite know what to make of it. It's not a single word title, but it's a very short phrase with no other context, so I'll just see what I can catch on this initial listen. This is My Face by John Foxx, a promotional track, which I guess was part of a non-single release.
Walking
So yeah, some dark tension, that streaking synth. I mean, it was seemingly trying to push how far can we carry on and keep the tension going. And I enjoyed the dark synth bass and overall a relatively minimal or stripped down production, but it had a lot of atmosphere despite that, and the rapid fire like hi-hat drum machine. Yeah, so it actually reminded me a bit of like Gary Newman, the darker side of Gary Newman, or at least the material up to what I've heard, which is, the pleasure principle. But also a bit, and again, funny that I mentioned Garrett Jones, almost like some Great Reward era Depeche Mode. I know that's ahead of this chronologically, but yeah, somewhere between a Newman track and a early dark Depeche tune. I enjoy his vocals. There were some really long extensions and sort of meandering extensions. So yeah, it had a bit of that new wave energy, but also a bit of a like dark gothic synth pop feel to it. So I actually expected it to be an instrumental because a number of tracks that we've gone through in these bonus tunes have been, but no, there were lyrics. I don't quite know what to make of them, so yeah, I was really keyed in on the sonics more than the vocals. But yes, I feel like, okay, so there's references to the past. This is clearly a reflection. He was by the stairs. That's where he always was. Do you remember my face? Which implies a previous time. And something about like the world, we were young, the world was there for the taking, so maybe there's a suggestion that there's been a loss or a missed opportunity for what could have happened, or a lack of ability to shape the world now relative to what was before. But I don't really know how that all stitches together. So there's an implied narrative between him and at least one other person, and maybe beyond that, and seemingly in a critical or negative trajectory way. But I don't know if that's just me sort of extrapolating in a direction that wasn't actually there. But curious to hear what people have to say about this one. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Peace.